ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas is your pathway to a bachelor's degree. Located in downtown Minneapolis, Doherty Family College offers an affordable education that includes free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, and a Metro Transit pass. As a full-time Doherty Family College student, you'll benefit from mentorship from St. Thomas faculty, along with paid internships and support from Minnesota's largest private college. Ready to turn your dreams into reality? Apply now at dfc.stthomas.edu. Doherty Family College, your journey to success starts here.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The easy all-in-one plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus many extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
Support for Native Roots Radio comes from the Walker Arts Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds, Cheyenne and Arapaho Nation, and Jim Demini, Ojibwe. Additionally, films screen in the cinema, and performances are shown on stage. Free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. Again, that's walkerart.org.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms possible overnight with a low of 46, then Friday cloudy with a high of 55. Cafe Latte is unlike any restaurant you've ever experienced. Grab a tray and pick from their award-winning selections of soups, salads, sandwiches, and mouth-watering desserts. Cafe Latte, Victoria Street and Grand Avenue in St. Paul, or cafelatte.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies are trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Chujunk, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
Yes, you are right, Daga. This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we should probably, if we can, get our friend Robert Lilligren on right away and talk about what's going on in the community and all the prayers that are going out there. Robert, if you don't mind, we can get you on a little early tonight.
Sure. Bonjour, Haley. Bonjour, Robert. Yeah, that's fine with me. Whatever works best for you.
Yeah, well, got to see you today, and let me just give you an introduction. Robert Lilligren is president and CEO of Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and today was this last few days have been really, really hard on community and our relatives. Today was well needed in, I don't know, I heard you on NPR today, and what a great segment, and just love to have you share your thoughts with our community here about our healing process and what's been going down here in Minneapolis.
Yeah. Miigwech, Robert. Thanks for the kind words. I haven't heard the NPR segment, but I said a lot of things that weren't used that are a little hotter maybe and more said in anger. And this is not the time for anger, right? This is the time to come together, heal. And there was a beautiful event today. It was great to see you there. We've had several shootings for people who don't know. Several shootings right in the community. We've lost a lot of Native relatives, young Native relatives, and it's a loss that the Native community here is really feeling. And so today we came together in prayer, in tradition, in a spirit of healing to try to move beyond this. And what made it particularly significant is today is the kickoff of American Indian Month in Minnesota, and so we've had months of planning for a whole day-long celebration, and actually celebrations all month, and so that's what we were ready for. And then last night, community leadership came together and said we can't celebrate when we're so sad, and so we came together today in healing, and it was really beautiful. It wasn't what we expected to do today, but it was what we needed to do.
What I really liked, Robert, too, is one of the elders told us to get closer and feel each other's heart, and that was really powerful.
Yeah. Right. And our revered elder Sharon Day said, hug each other, and she was at a meeting last night that community leadership and organizational leadership had with the mayor, not last night, yesterday afternoon, with the mayor, our police chief, and of course they're offering support and things. And she said at the end of that meeting, we all stood up and hugged each other. And she said, I remember thinking, well, we should do this all the time. We should be this close all the time. So that was, one aspect of a really powerful day.
Yeah, I agree. And emotions were high, and it should have been high, and they were high. And I'm really glad that I made it because, we have to stand up for our people and our relatives and our young ones and our old ones, and show up. And so that was really important for me to be there, Robert, and seeing you and all the Native American Community Development Institute people there too is really heartwarming to see.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, we were all set and ready to support Indian Month kickoff, and then we had to pivot to this. And I will tell you, this morning we had conversations amongst our staff. People did not feel safe being there. I heard this a lot from community as well. People fear retaliation and getting caught in crossfire. We were just a block from where the mass shooting took place last night, and so people were frightened. But our staff decided to shoulder to shoulder to go in and be supportive. I'm so proud of my coworkers for really stepping up. And to your comment, Robert, about emotions running high, and they were. It was a very emotional day, lots of tears, right? And as one of our younger cultural keepers said, your tears are medicine.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And it was needed, and it was well, I was like, I always love, and we talked about this too a lot when we have our leaders there, but not in the front. They're letting community run the show, and they're there to support, and I really appreciate that.
I love that. I really felt that. The other thing that was really notable for me, or one other thing, was we had a strong media presence there, right? There were probably 7 TV cameras up, reporters all over the place, and we did sort of the more public parts, and then when we got to the more prayerful part, our dear sister Carrie Day Aspinwall, made an announcement, please stop filming. And we had gone around to the move floor and explained to them why that was important, and they did.
Yeah,
they were very respectful. I mean, that I feel like it would have been different 5 years ago, in a setting like that, it would have been much more angry for one thing than sort of loving. But I feel like the media wouldn't have been that respectful and responsive. So I give them credit.
That's funny you should say that, because one of the area stations that not always is very nice to Native Americans were there, and I went up to the reporter and said, I appreciate you, and I appreciate, how you go about things, and I'm glad you're here. And he really liked to hear that too. But there are good people out in the media, and there are not good people out in the media too. So it's always good to praise, and it's a really good point what you brought up about them being respectful.
Right. And you know how it is at our organization, Native American Community Development Institute. We're kind of higher profile. So media comes to us a lot. And then, we kind of direct them to the best community voice to be talking to. But because community knows that, I heard from several community members that media was, was reaching out directly to residents of Little Earth and stuff. They're really uncomfortable with that. And they felt, they're vulnerable there, and then who knows when the shooting's actually going to stop. There are more retaliatory gun battles, who knows? But they don't want to really be out there in public, and so they were looking to organizational leadership here through Metropolitan Urban Indian Directors, or Metro Leadership Forum, to kind of step in. And I think that was a really good and interesting request. And, sometimes there's dynamics between sort of grassroots and leadership and who's doing what and everything. But I felt like that was a really powerful understanding and acknowledgement that, people like me who are in organizational leadership, and people in the community who sometimes, there's sometimes a disconnect. And we really are all in this, and it just felt very indigenous, that everyone was respecting everyone's roles and responsibilities to each other. And I just think, again, this is a really painful time here, but I do think that good things can come of it.
Well, Robert, I know you're on air tonight. You have a big celebration with your family and your husband, and I really appreciate you talking to us, talking to our listeners during this time of need. So hopefully we got you for just one more, right?
Yep, I'll stay for sure. Thanks. Yep.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and with Haley Cherry and Robert Lilligren, President and CEO of Native American Community Development Institute here in Minneapolis. We'll be right back.
J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Everyone knows I love Rudy Luther Toyota, but do you know who else loves Toyotas? Consumer Reports. They're out with their best of 2025 auto issue, and once again, it reads Toyota, Toyota, Toyota. Of the new 2025 models, Consumer Reports recommends the Prius, Corolla, Corolla Hybrid, the Camry, the Sienna, the Corolla Cross Hybrid, the RAV4, the RAV4 Hybrid, the Highlander, and the Highlander Hybrid. In almost every class, you'll find a Toyota. Find one for yourself at Rudy Luther Toyota, the southeast corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Now showing at MIA, artist Mary Sully was a visionary ahead of her time. Born on the Standing Rock Reservation, she worked in near obscurity between the 1920s and 1940s, creating intricate, vividly colored drawings that blend Dakota heritage with modern life. Now on display at the Minneapolis Institute of Art, experience the first solo exhibition featuring Mary Sully's work and see how her art challenges traditional ideas of Native and modern art. Only at MIA and always free to visit. Learn more at artsmia.org. Support for Native Roots Radio comes from the Walker Art Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds, Cheyenne and Arapaho Nation, and Jim Demeny, Ojibwe. Additionally, films screen in the cinema and performances are shown on stage. Free every Thursday night and free every day for members and citizens of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org. Again, that's walkerart.org.
Hi, this is Representative Sharice Davids from Kansas. I'm Ho Chunk, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Development Institute, or NACDI, in Minneapolis.
Hey, we were here with our friend Robert Lilligren, President and CEO of Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and really appreciate you spending time with us. This is such a crucial time, and I know we here at Native Roots Radio try to get the word out, and I can't think of any better person to talk about this than you, so appreciate you being on, Robert.
That's very kind. Miigwech. Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Haley. It's always a pleasure to be here, and it is. It feels like an inflection point here, right? And our community isn't unfamiliar with the kind of violence that we faced the last 2 days here. And I feel like the response is different. It's less about anger and less about what are you outside interests going to do for us, but it's more about how are we as a community going to come together, going to be with each other as Indigenous people and move on in a more powerful way from this.
You know, it's interesting too, and I'm kind of paraphrasing from the first speaker that spoke and how she was really emotional about that we need to protect our family, our little ones, our elders. But us elders, it was almost a call to action too. Us elders need to reach out to these troubled people and get them back in the circle.
Agree. And something that came out of today's conversation, we had mostly elders, maybe all elders, that were the cultural carriers, spiritual participants. And I heard that message too, Robert, from several people. And one of our cultural carriers, Brian Hart, Two-Spirit, brought his pipe, right? And did this very beautiful and appropriate pipe ceremony, and it just fit in so well. And afterward, I was talking to Brian, who I really respect and have known for a long time, and I was glad they did a pipe ceremony. We don't do that a lot in public, right? And I said, I wonder if we should call on pipe carriers in the community to come together regularly and use our pipes. And he was really enthusiastic, and he's been talking about this for a while, and whether it's monthly or quarterly or whatever. So now we're going to explore this idea of doing a sort of a community pipe ceremony regularly. And many orgs, our org for sure, NACDI, will put resources behind this, but more importantly, I think there's a strong community interest and benefit to doing it. Because as one of the elders said, and I can't remember who it was, if we don't exercise our ways and use them, then they'll disappear, right? So let's do a pipe ceremony.
Geez, the last time I was in any pipe ceremony, it was with Clyde Belcourt and the Badlands. And so I look forward to that, and that's a grand and great idea. And the power of putting the pipe together is just something that us natives really try to understand and appreciate.
I agree. And then there's several fires going in the community. Of course, fires for our relatives who were killed and who died, but also community fires, right? There's a fire at Little Earth, a fire at All Nations Church, and a fire at the Indian Center. And so this is this opportunity to come in together in this very important spiritual and communal way.
Yeah. So what else do you take out of this? Because I always love to talk about call of action. And I know we talked a little bit about reaching our troubled youth and getting them back in the circle. That's a real vague statement. There's specific things that we can do, but what else can we do? What else is a good, and the pipe and the pipe ceremony? That's a great call to action. What else can we do as natives and allies in the community?
It's such a good question. There's so much going on here right now, right? I mean, we're really fortunate as an urban Indian community to have so many deep and meaningful relationships. And so I think what you said, engage. There's some incredible groups, the Indigenous Protectors Movement, Many Shields, Women Warrior Society, that are really right there. I did notice that it was the Indigenous Protectors who were there at Cedarfield Park where the ceremony took place, doing all the cleanup and things, just kind of step in. And it's that relationship-based thing, and it's one-to-one, right? And for me, we kind of had our calendars clear today because we expected to be doing celebratory Indian Month stuff all day. But tomorrow's another day, right? And so there's been all this conversation, are we canceling this meeting, are we canceling that meeting? We have all these kind of important gatherings with people who control resources that can help our community. And my feeling is keep moving, right? The best thing we can do for our relatives and to honor those who walked on is to continue to try to build a better world. And so, tomorrow I have a full day, and that's just something. And a lot of people do. And so that's, and then the other thing, and I feel like this is a lesson to be learned, and I know I just said this, but in our community, based on our colonized, imposed mentality of scarcity, we so often want to tear each other down, right? And I feel like an event like this, tragic, and people are really respecting each other's roles in the community, supporting each other. I think that's essential, and I feel like it's very Indigenous. I haven't really felt it this strong since the horrible sculpture, the scaffold at the Walker Arts Center sculpture, right? The community came together in kind of the same way, and it's like, okay, radical activists who do this, okay, artists who do this, okay, governance people, you do this, and we all had one message, right? Bring it down. And I feel like this is a moment like that, where if we can come together as a community around one thought, one objective, one message, and even in our disagreement, respect each other's ways of advancing that message.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I feel like since Standing Rock, the Seven Fires that went from there have really talked to that of what you're saying, and really have, in the most part, really have grounded community together. I know, we go back and forth sometimes, but I think all in all, it's really strong, and I saw a lot of strong people there that are doers and do things on the side that don't need big fanfare, and that's always great to see these people.
I agree, Robert, and I also agree that Standing Rock and Ochichicoy and the 7 council fires of Standing Rock were a pivot point for me, for sure. And just spending a short time there in the peaceful and prayerful community, I learned something, and I came back here, understanding, we can go backward to go forward. We can base progress on our traditional practices and values, and that was just a really real life example of that. And I have felt since then that we're still living on that, right? We're still advancing that, and I think what's happening here right now, still kind of chaotic. I've been getting a bunch of texts while we're talking, and I can't stop and look at them. But there's been progress in the criminal investigations around these shootings, and I feel like we as a community can really hold tight, or not, right? We have choice. There's a lot about that freedom of choice today in the elders' comments. We have a choice. We can come together and grow from this, or we can just continue the way we've been.
I'm wondering, is there anything that you can share to our listening audience where we're at with the investigation?
I can't without going into my text, which I'm already on kind of rickety technology here. and I usually just hear things 2 seconds before the rest of the world. So, but I think the center of what I picked up just from what I've seen is a lot of this, although maybe not all of it, is Native on Native violence. Right? And so I think this is where our learning moment is. We can't keep doing the colonizers' work for them.
Yeah. Wow. That's a great statement right there. Robert, anything else? We got a minute left here, and I know there's a lot of great things that are happening on the avenues, particularly, but also in Indian country that we're resisting a lot of things and doing good work.
I agree so much, and we what I'm trying to do is to really embrace our community joy, and this is American Indian Month, and we have a month long of events. I mean, important ones, but also just coming together and how do we get back to that, in a way that respects our relatives and what has happened, but that doesn't let a few people's violent actions steal our community joy. And so I want to encourage, we're all trying to figure this out. Can we just go back to partying tomorrow? Or how do we add meaning and progress to this month that's very important to us here? So just trying to figure that out, but I would stay close to Facebook pages and websites for Metropolitan Area of Indian Directors or Native American Community Development Institute, where you'll see there's stuff planned every day for this month. And my hope is that we can come together as a community and grow and not disrupt this important month to us here in Minnesota.
Well, I'll leave you with it. Always gets the darkest before sunrise, and I feel like this is always a pivotal point in our community.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, Robert, thank you so much for coming on, and especially with the celebration that we cut you off on, and give our best to the retirement party, and
my husband retired this week, so I was at a retirement party for my husband.
Right. Robert's not retiring. No. All right. Pinigigi, thank you, Robert. And we'll see you in a few weeks.
All right.
All right. Thanks. Hey, we'll be right back. Native Roots Radio.
Located just north of 50th in France, the Great Wall Restaurant has provided a delicious taste of authentic Chinese cuisine since 1981. Specializing in Szechuan and Peking dishes, they offer one of the most extensive menus in the Twin Cities. Favorites include hot and sour soup, pan-fried dumplings, and mushu pork with homemade Chinese pancakes. Stop by their Edina location or call for takeout at 952-927-4439. See the full menu at greatwallrestaurant.us.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. Warm weather is here. Maybe you're getting ready for a graduation party over at the house. There's a lot coming up as summer nears. Your house isn't ready, so that's why you need to call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res right now. Zero Res can handle every surface in your home: carpets, tile and grout, hardwood, laminate, stone, upholstery, rugs, and air ducts. Zero Res has both been out to my house and out here at AM 950 in our studios in recent months. They did such a fantastic job. They were on time, professional, and courteous. They got the stains out that we didn't think would come out here at the station. This month, get 3-room Zero Resified from Minnesota's #1 carpet and air duct cleaner, and take 20% off all services. That's right, 20% off all services. But you need to go to ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 9520-RES and ask for the AM 950 special. 20% off all services all month. That's Zero Res. Backward or forward spells the same.
When was the last time you had your roof inspected for extreme weather and hail damage? This is Chad, owner of AM 950, to talk about the exterior construction company I trust, Snap Construction. If you've noticed new roofing projects in your neighborhood, your home was likely hit by hail last summer and experienced damage. Snap Construction is helping homeowners like you, and they're the roofing specialists I trust. They are the most well-reviewed contractor in the Twin Cities and have a ton of positive customer reviews from homeowners just like you. Even better, Snap Construction's installations are backed by a lifetime warranty, so you know you're dealing with a qualified roofing expert. You want to work with a company that will be here for a long time after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims and will help you through the process. Do yourself a favor and get a free roofing inspection so you have the facts and peace of mind you deserve. Call Snap Construction today at 612-333-SNAP. That's 612-333-SNAP, or visit snapconstruction.com.
This is Andy Otto, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we dive into one of the most complex conversations in our community, the intersection of religion and the LGBTQIA identity. We're joined by longtime Twin Cities Pride supporter and volunteer Michelle Gunderson, who believes there's room at the table for everyone. Please join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
It's no secret that medical care costs are soaring, with nursing home and skilled nursing care costs being some of the highest. You don't have to deplete your savings in order to receive long-term care. At Schroman Law, we work with families to develop and implement strategic planning for medical assistance for long-term care, for assisted living, nursing home care, or home-based care. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation at schromanlaw.com. That's SCHROMEN law.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Showers and thunderstorms possible overnight with a low of 46, then Friday cloudy with a high of 55. Don't miss Sasha Colby's Stripped 2 tour, an electrifying blend of dance, storytelling, and drag artistry at the Fillmore Minneapolis October 9th. Tickets at thefillmoreminneapolis.com, but keep listening to the Matt McNeil Show this week for your chances to win. ATNF AM 950, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Oh, this is Dallas Goldtooth, and you're listening to the Native Roots Radio. Hoka, hicha, wecha.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, we have our friend Shelley Buck, who's president of Owámniyomni Okhódayapi, and we are so grateful to have Shelley on to talk about what's happening here. You've been president since January 2023. You're a enrolled member of Prairie Island community and served 12 years as Prairie Island Tribal Council, including 6 years as president. Buck is also has a bachelor in science, business accounting from Indiana University, a master's of arts in sports management from Concordia University. She recently finished a second master's of jurisprudence in tribal Indian law from the University of Tulsa. Welcome. It's such an honor to have you, Shelley. Thanks so much for being on.
Owámniyomni for having me. Thank you. It's great to be here with you.
Right on. I hope I did okay on the pronunciation of your organization. I've been practicing with Haley's help.
You did good. Owámniyomni Okhódayapi. Yep.
Oh, Okhóda, good. Oh, cool. Hey, so tell us again, thanks for being on. And can you introduce yourself to our listeners and tell us about your organization?
Definitely, my pleasure. Owámniyomni Chante Washtea Nape Chiujapi, Dakota Iap De Wachoda Makiapie, Shelley Buck Makiapie. Hello, my relatives. I greet you with a good heart and handshake. My Dakota name is Manny Buffalo. My English name is Shelley Buck. As you said, I am president of Owámniyomni Okhódayapi, and we are a Dakota-led organization working to bring back Dakota values such as Mini-Wiconi and the Dakota culture to our traditional homelands in Minneapolis. And we're doing this by working to restore 5 acres along the Central Riverfront in Minnesota. And we want to bring back, we know we can't bring back and restore the area back to the way it was, but we want to do what we can. So the 5 acres, we want to bring back the native plantings, traditional medicines, and help improve the natural environment, not only for us and those that enjoy the area, but also our natural relatives as well.
Yeah, Shelley, let's back up a second too. I think you have this exclusive rights agreement with the city of Minneapolis. That's huge. Let's talk about that just a little bit.
Definitely. I'd love to. We just recently came to an agreement with the city. We've been working on it for about 1.5 years now. It's the exclusive rights agreement, which is one step towards getting the land transferred. It's several steps we have to go through, but with the exclusive rights agreement, it's an agreement between us at Owámniyomni Okhódayapi and the city of Minneapolis, where we as an organization agree to the terms with the city on what we need to do in order for them to eventually make us their designee to get the land transferred from the federal government when the time comes. This agreement does not make us their designee. Like, we are not the designee right now, but we've come to agreements on what we have to do in order to be the designee. So then the next step will be providing what we need to the city. And then we'll continue to work to get the land transferred to us from the federal government sometime later in 2026.
That's amazing. And, we talk about land back. It's on t-shirts, it's on hats, but you and your organization is doing that. So a big shout out to you. And that's, we talk about the river and water being sacred. And there's so many sacred spots along these places that we need to talk about and get back. So big kudos to you and your organization.
Well, thank you, Pidamaya. We like to use the term either land reclamation or land rematriation. Land back, unfortunately, has some negative connotation depending on who you're talking to, but really that ownership piece is a Western concept. And we understand that ownership while working in the Western world is important to have. However, for us, we really want to be able to practice our traditional ways, bring back those traditional plantings, and really steward the land and be a relative to the land in the way we're supposed to be. So for me personally, that means land reclamation or land rematriation.
Awesome. Yeah, I appreciate that correction. That's awesome. One of the things we had Barry Hand on a couple weeks ago, I believe, and he was talking about we'll be able to educate our allies out there too on what this land means to Dakota people and indigenous people here in the state of Minnesota.
Exactly. And not only educate them on like the best ways to care for our other relatives, but also tell them about the history, especially at this site at Owámniyomni, or St. Anthony Falls, as the settlers called it, that they don't hear anywhere else. You go anywhere along that area and it's all Mill City history. And for most people, they know nothing about it having this long Dakota history and the importance and sacredness of it to the Dakota people. And so we're hoping to really expand that knowledge. And it's been amazing to see all the positive responses we've gotten from everybody, from top to bottom. And it's just so amazing to see. It's something totally different than coming from tribal leadership. A lot of times with tribal government, when you go to work with the surrounding communities, it can sometimes be really contentious. And coming into this organization and working in the cities, I thought there was still going to be some of that. So far, it's been really great. Everybody has been supportive, and everyone can't wait to see this land transformed and be able to enjoy and learn something that they haven't learned before.
That's so exciting and a great point. I remember when I was in college, they talked about Father Hennepin and how he how he discovered the falls and how he figured out how the dam was moving because of an ancient relative gopher, I think. But it's great to have the true history and the prehistory, because the people get confused that prehistory just means non-white history. We have history here for 10,000 years. The Lakota Dakotas, for sure.
Exactly. And a lot of people just see a site, and then you go a little ways, another site, then another ways, another site. But for us, they're all connected. They all work with one another. They all have importance to one another. And we're so close to Badote, which is one of the places of our origin story where we come into human form. And there are a lot of sites. Owámniyomni is one. It's a whole area of importance and sacredness to the Dakota people. that needs to be thought of as a collective and not individually. So hoping once, we get the our site done and everybody excited about that, then we can go and educate them about the greater area and the importance of taking care of and stewarding in a proper way the entire area.
Yeah, and Badote means where the two waters meet. So that's the Minnesota and the Mississippi. And right now that island is kind of desecrated because it's a park, and it's hard for me to see because I have a boat on the Mississippi River, and I do drive by that quite often. Before I forget, I would really love if you could give some information on how people can find out more about your organization, whether it's Facebook or a website, or how they could even donate to your organization.
We have multiple ways they can learn about us and stay up to date with us. They could go to our website, Owámniyomni.org. They could sign up for our newsletter from the website. There's a donate button on the website. We also have a Facebook page, Owámniyomni Okhódayapi, and then an Instagram at Owámniyomni. This is the start of Give Minnesota, the Native Give Minnesota. So this month would be a great month for people to donate if they choose. They can see all the events that we've got going on, and we can talk a little bit later about our interpretive tours we're doing, but we also have other events that they can keep up to date on through the website and our social media.
Yeah, that's exciting, and that's one of the questions that my producer here, Haley Cherry, my Chujunk here, has for us. So I want to talk a little bit more for the segment. There's like a minute left in the segment, and then let's get deep into that. The tours, and that really interests me, and in a good way. We have to know where we're from, whether it's all the indigenous people that live in the Twin Cities, but also our allies that are really interested in supporting us and doing things correctly.
Exactly. And, we love teaching people. I don't like talking about myself, but I love talking about my people and the history of my people. And it's great to see people's minds open up and watch them flip how they think about something when they learn our ways of life and how we view the world, to see them really stop and relate it to their lives, and then watch them even change their lives and how they live day to day is pretty cool and pretty amazing to see.
Yeah, this is just a beautiful thing, and I'm excited too because I'm not that far away, and I could always stop at kind of a world-renowned restaurant up on top of the hill before I come down there with my bad knees. Oh, wow. Well, we got to take a quick break here, right, Haley? Yeah. And wow, let me try this again. We are here with Shelley Buck, president of Owámniyomni Okhódayapi. Oh, geez.
Okhódayapi.
Okhódayapi.
Thank you. Hey, I'm going to make Haley introduce you in the next segment. Oh, wow. Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we'll be right back.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Summer is fast approaching. How will your teens spend their days? Reconnecting Our Roots is a unique opportunity for Native American teenagers from the Twin Cities area. Students will engage in cultural activities and learn about Native histories rooted through Minnesota Makoche in a welcoming environment. The summer session runs July 14th through the 18th at the Minnesota History Center, and a stipend is available for those who attend each day. Learn more and apply now at mnhs.org/NEI.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
I love my Toyotas from Rudy Luther Toyota for one simple reason. I can depend on them. You know they keep you safe, and they're incredibly reliable, fuel-efficient, comfortable, and stylish. The Consumer Reports Best of 2025 edition has 10 Toyotas as best buys in affordability. Toyotas are some of Consumer Reports' highest-rated certified pre-owned vehicles, and Rudy Luther Toyota's service department is the one place I take my Sienna for all of its maintenance needs. Toyotas are fantastic vehicles because they're fantastic vehicles. See for yourself at Rudy Luther Toyota off of 394 in Golden Valley.
Annie, and I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
In this portion of the show, we like to bring awareness to our Minnesota wolf population. Say no to the hunts.
No! We'll get you to howl next time, Shelley, now that we surprise that on you. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Hey,
I should have told me. I would have loved to do that.
Oh, well,
Next
hey,
time.
next
No,
time.
we just have to do that.
Okay, hey, we're here with Shelley Buck, president of Owámniyomni Okhódayapi.
Ooh, nice, Robert.
Do I give myself the applause here?
Yeah,
Okay. Whoa.
good job.
Don't have me do it again. Hey, let's talk a little until the next time. Let's talk a little bit about what some of the things that you're going to be doing this summer and maybe part of this month too. What kind of celebrations and tours are happening?
Well, we've started our tour season up. We offer interpretive tours. There are set dates. You can go on our website and sign up for them. Our first one actually is this weekend, September. Let's see, Saturday, May 3rd at 9 a.m. Unfortunately, because of the Stone Arch Bridge work that's happening on our side of the river, we are having to do our tours on the other side of the river. So people will be meeting at Father Hennepin Park, and it'll be a 1-hour tour that they learn about the importance of the area, the Dakota culture there, what the area was like before the falls were harnessed for their power or for their economic resources. And yeah, it's a great time. Everybody loves the tours. Barry does such a great job with them. People learn so much. I've never met someone who has so much knowledge about so many different areas, but they'll really understand how Dakota people stewarded the land before with our traditional ways, and how we're connected to the area and the water, and not only at Owámniyomni, but even further down river. And it's a great learning experience for people. And like I said, Barry does a great job, and people can sign up. We also do provide tours for organizations, different groups, sometimes schools. There is a small charge, but people can reach out for those, and we can try to get those set up as well.
Well, again, and then that's off your website. We can give that out again.
Yes, Owámniyomni.org. You can sign up for the interpretive tours. The interpretive tours are free if you sign up for the dates that are predetermined. So anybody can come and join and learn a little bit about the area. Some people have lived there their whole lives and didn't know what they learned on the tours. So it's pretty great time for everyone to learn.
As a Dakota person, what surprised you the most about that area? That you went, oh, I didn't know that, or maybe a reaffirmation of something you did know and that was brought up?
Yeah, sadly, federal policies worked with some things. I didn't know a lot about the area. Obviously, being from Prairie Island, our reservation is further south along the Mississippi, or Hahawakpa. So I didn't know a lot about the Minneapolis area and the importance. I knew there were important sites. I just didn't know exactly where. Obviously, I knew Nicollet Island or Owámniyomni. I knew that was a very important site for our people. But it wasn't until I became part of the Native Partnership Council with the then Friends of the Falls that I really learned about the site and was almost embarrassed I didn't know more. But I think it's really, I've learned so much, and knowing that there was another island there that was sacred to our people called Owámniyomni or Spirit Island. It was destroyed and harvested for her limestone to build the city around it. It's sad to see some of the old photos of what she looked like. And there's like different photos at different time periods of her being harvested and destroyed for her limestone. And now to know that she's no longer there. And even though the falls have been desecrated, they were over 1,250 feet wide. They're about a third of the size now. And then, of course, Owámniyomni being totally destroyed. Even though those things have been destroyed, that power, that life force is still there. And we can see that life force in the natural life that's there. I think it was last year we saw 2 of our syncope or muskrat relatives back in the area. So that was exciting to see that life is already coming back.
That's amazing. So in the future, are you thinking of publishing a book about this, a companion book of all your work, but also the way it used to be and the way it's going to be?
We haven't really talked about a book per se. We have talked about how the process worked because, we're a Dakota-led organization. We're working with the city, the Minneapolis Park and Rec Board, and the 4 Dakota tribes here in the state of Minnesota. And it's a kind of a weird partnership and dynamic to have all those different groups working together. And we changed kind of the way that the process happens. Normally with a construction project like this, you have the design and engineering team that might bring in a traditional knowledge keeper here and there, meet with them a few times, take the knowledge that they get, check the box, give them a small little stipend, and never talk to them again. And when I came into this project, I wanted to make sure that our knowledge, it's not something you can just read from books. These are things that people have brought up with, taught by their elders, passed down from elders before, and so on. That's valuable knowledge that those design and engineer teams can't get anywhere else. So those traditional knowledge keepers are going to be at the center of the project from the start to the finish. And they're not going to get just some little stipend. They're going to get paid just like any other subcontractor would for their knowledge and their work. And it wasn't easy. We knew there were going to be bumps in the road, but we worked through them. And I think we've really been able to show people that it can be done. And I was worried when we put out the RFP request that contractors would balk at this idea. We had 10 people who put in bids. We interviewed 5 of them, and every single one thanked us for doing that. They were excited to see how we structured it. And obviously some of these knowledge keepers have college degrees. Some may have just a high school degree. There's different levels of Western education with our knowledge keepers all throughout the diaspora. And we wanted to make sure that they had whatever help they needed. So our project advisor, who's an amazing person, she's non-native, but she created a small packet for those knowledge keepers to help them. Like, this is how you do an invoice. This is how you keep track of your time. This is how you do this. These are the expenses you need to think about, different things like that. So it was a really good project. It was really nice to see that someone like our project advisor was willing to step in and really help out.
Wow, that's a great definition of decolonizing the workspace, and that's beautiful. And I appreciate what you had to say about our knowledge keepers that isn't just thrown against the wall for anybody. And so I really appreciate that reminder, Shelley.
Well, thank you. I mean, obviously, the Western education is something that I'm very good at, but I know I don't know everything, and I know I wasn't brought up in the traditional way, not to my wanting, but uh, I don't have a lot of the knowledge. There are other people who do, and I want to make sure that we help them and they help us and we continue to educate our people. So those like me and others growing up within the culture, they they learn these things and are able to continue passing this knowledge down to future generations so we don't lose it.
Well, Shelley, thank you so much. We have to keep talking and have you and your organization on more just to the great work that you're doing and then what we need. I appreciate you being on, and we'll see you soon. And I might see you at a meeting here soon too. Oh, wow.
Yeah, definitely. Padamayaye, thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
Right on. Thank you so much. Hey, if you're listening to the show, you're part of the resistance. We're still here. We are the seventh generation. See you tomorrow.
Now showing at